WWE superstar Lily telling you to support WrestleTalk. Give them a subscribe.
Support WrestleTalk.
Give us a subscribe.
Wow, huge thanks to WWE superstar Lily there for doing the intro to the show. Cost me a goddamn fortune on Cameo though, so subscribe here for daily wrestling news videos. I know a third of you aren't right now, and if you do and we pass 800,000 subscribers, I'll dress up as Maki Ito for you filthy mercs. Because WrestleMania happened over the weekend, I'd like to wish everyone a happy new wrestling year. A time for new starts, new feuds, and people about to get ruined on the main roster. Because this week isn't just the post-Mania week, it's also the start of a new era for NXT on Tuesday nights. No longer going up against AEW Dynamite on Wednesdays. Thankfully, the real winner from the Wednesday Night Wars was us, the fans, because now we can watch both shows unopposed. Last night's first proper Tuesday night NXT saw a big title change, some main roster cameos, and a former Impact star debut, which Tempest will cover in his NXT in about 5 minutes review up in a bit. But there was also a major angle on the show where Roderick Strong quit the promotion. Roddy debuted for NXT almost 5 years ago in October 2016 as Austin Aries' tag partner in the Dusty Rhodes Classic. But it wasn't until his Ring of Honor mates Adam Cole, Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly jumped ship to NXT that his career really took off, with whom he became a 2-time tag team champion and 1-time North American champion. But following the Undisputed Era faction split at TakeOver Vengeance Day, he handed in his resignation to NXT General Manager William Regal on last night's episode, with his real-life wife Marina Shafir beside him. But before you can say, Roderick Strong to AEW confirmed, this is almost certainly kayfabe. The last update on his WWE contract status had him signed with the company until the end of next year, along with Fish, O'Reilly and Cole, which will presumably be a very interesting collective negotiation, especially with a bunch of their best friends and Cole's real-life girlfriend Britt Baker over in AEW. So if Strong is staying with WWE for at least a year and a half, what next for him? He could simply be taking some time off, although that's not a very pro wrestler thing to do. Perhaps he wants to heal up from an injury, or he could be set for something far worse. A main roster call-up. There were no big debuts on Monday's Raw, so perhaps this could be timed for a call-up on SmackDown. What do you think Roddy will do next? Let me know in the comments down below, where I'll be replying to people from out of nowhere, saying please God, please let it be SmackDown. But it's not just a new schedule for NXT. We are also bringing back NXT podcast reviews over on the WrestleTalk podcast channel starting today. Tempest and Chopper will be reviewing the show live, so make sure to subscribe there using the link in the video description below or the eye above my head. Triple H would be so proud of you if you did. Thanks for your support on Patreon, the British Bulldog Philip Boy J. Smith Jr. and Shield Maiden, the Zornice. After Raw Women's Champion Rhea Ripley, SmackDown Women's Champion Bianca Belair, and NXT Women's Champion Raquel Gonzalez all posed together in the ring on last night's episode, NXT Daddy Triple H was faced with a dilemma. He's got 3 champions to point to there, but only 2 hands to point with. So he tweeted, "We are NXT forever, proud," with a picture of him with his arms round the champs. I know what we're all thinking looking at that photo, so I'm just gonna say it. Triple H versus CM Punk confirmed. CM Punk has been promoting his new film Jacob's Wife in interviews, which means every single press outlet is going to ask him at least once about a wrestling return, as they damn well should. We need those clicks. So when Uproxx asked him about what it would take for him to come back, he pointed out the wrestling world doesn't necessarily need CM Punk, as everyone's doing well without him. It's not like Hulk Hogan in the 90s, where he could show up and demand full creative control. So it is somewhat out of his hands. But he did say if the time, the place, and the situation were right, he would be interested. If it were AEW, he said that would be with Kenny Omega for the biggest match possible. But if he made his return to WWE, unfortunately, ironically enough, for me to go back to WWE, who's the biggest match for me? It's probably Triple H. That's ironic because it's nothing I'm interested in. It's just what it is. Am I going to be a businessman and say that's the match That's the big money match? Well, it's not my money, so it's not for me to say. Punk sure does sound like he definitely still loves wrestling there. Punk's stance from a few years ago, where the creative had to be spot on and the money had to be a, quote, big bag, seems to have softened recently. Now he's happy to do one or the other, a bit more willing to compromise, saying in interviews he'd come back if the story excited him, or, seemingly here, taking the Goldberg approach. He'd just come back for the biggest payday possible, even though he's not interested in the actual match. Which would definitely be Triple H in WWE, given Punk's Shoot podcast interview on The Game all those years ago. Who would you want Punk to wrestle if he returned to WWE? Let me know why it's Roman Reigns for the affections of Paul Heyman in the comments down below. Hunter don't need that dollar though, as his and the rest of the McMahon family's pay has been revealed in a recent SEC filing ahead of WWE's annual shareholders meeting on May 27th, which I can't wait for. Honestly, I personally consider their quarterly earnings reports as bigger than most B-level pay-per-views. Vince McMahon received an annual salary of $1.4 million and qualifies for a 100% target bonus of that. I'd love to see how Vince assesses Vince's own 2020 performance there. I think you did great, pal. Really grabbed those brass rings. Now get me a steak. Triple H gets paid $1 million a year, and his wrestler performance deal runs until March 30th next year, just a few days before WrestleMania 38, which will presumably be extended for that CM Punk main event. And Stephanie gets paid $750,000 a year, and her talent agreement runs until October 6th. This year. And they sure earned it, going by Monday's episode of Raw. Despite everyone widely agreeing Monday's Raw was the worst Raw after Mania of all time, the show did its second best viewership of the year, pulling in just over 2 million viewers. The best performing of 2021 still remains January 4th's Legends Night episode. It'll be interesting to see how next week's show does, however, as the terrible creative here might have turned away any new viewers tuning in after Mania for next week. Speaking of WrestleMania, loads of news has come out from the weekend's two-night pay-per-view, with Wrestling Observer Radio reporting multiple matches had their finishes changed during the weekend, possibly up to 4. One of these was The Fiend vs Randy Orton, which originally called for Bray to win, but this was changed just hours before Night 2 started, despite talent saying that was a bad idea. That wasn't the only thing that was scrapped, as the much reported Becky Lynch return, which Becky herself heavily teased on social media, didn't happen either. Ringside News claimed the creative team had prepared for Lynch's return, which was going to be interrupting a Bayley segment, but it was decided Becky's comeback was better saved for another time. Like, not in front of fans, I guess. You want those Thunderdome thumbs up? Ooh, yeah, the crowd heat. And Bayley was just beaten up by the Bella Twins instead. One thing that never changed, however, according to Fightful, was the brilliant Night 2 main event of Roman Reigns vs Edge vs Daniel Bryan for the Universal title. It's funny that the match with the longest booked plan in place was also by far the best. Reigns was always planned to win from early on, presumably even before Bryan was added, which was discussed for over a month before Daniel was internally added to the story the week of Fastlane. It was a masterstroke, as Fightful adds the Universal title main event was a collaborative effort between everyone involved, with all 3 competitors giving ideas, with Heyman also being instrumental in the layout, much like how he was for Brock Lesnar and Goldberg's matches in the past. The warring headbutts while Bryan and Edge had Roman in a double submission was apparently Bryan's idea. Michael Hayes was the match's producer, who also deserves credit, and the main event was very well received backstage, with Reigns in particular getting a lot of praise for his performance. And quite right so, it was fantastic. Quickly, elsewhere in wrestling news, Reginald has revealed he missed WrestleMania because he was sick. Triple H has revealed Walter has been producing Backstage in NXT, presumably giving the young developing talent feedback like, needs more chops. Andrade has announced his first non-WWE appearance, a signing at the Wrestling Guy store in California on the 2nd of May, while also tweeting a video package of his work in CMLL alongside current ROH star Roosh, further hinting at an impending wrestling return. Heath Slater has claimed on the Angle podcast he was offered a contract to return to WWE following his release last April, but it was like half of what I was making. AEW also wanted him for a 3-week thing, but he had already signed with Impact by that point, which is a near miss for Slater, as it appears that AEW locker room has become incredibly toxic, with Britt Baker tweeting out the incredibly offensive observation, "I swear I just saw a fireball in the sky," insensitively triggering her colleague, dinosaur wrestler Luchasaurus, who simply replied, "Stop!" And now it's what you've all been asking for over a year. An NXT TV review in about 5 minutes.
Hey, look at us. Who'd have thought? Not me. That's right, WrestleTalk friends and fans, your boy Tempest the Wrestler is back with the review of the first edition of Tuesday Night NXT in about 5 minutes. So this show opened with the NXT Championship address of the new NXT champion, Karrion Kross. His promo was pretty good, albeit unspectacular, although he did have a really good line about people who say that when you're at the top, you can go nowhere but down, saying that that is incorrect and he will only continue to go up. Personally, I would like my big scary monster wrestlers to be a little less talkative, have Scarlett Bordeaux perhaps cut the promo for him, but all in all, no complaints here. We then had the first match of the night as the NXT Tag Team Champions MSK Machine Son Kelly defended the titles against Drake Maverick and Killian Dane. This match was really sloppy early as Wesley and Drake Maverick just couldn't get on the same page. People were booing MSK in the crowd too. I don't get that. I like MSK. Do you like MSK? Who doesn't like MSK? And eventually MSK did get the win on Drake Maverick before Imperium arrived to attack Killian Dane after the match. Backstage, we had Mercedes Martinez confronting Robert Stone and Aaliyah asking for her money, and she really choked out Aaliyah in this one, huh? This segment set up a match between Martinez and Jessi Kamea, and I'm very disappointed that Jessi Kamea's move is not called the Kamehameha Wave. To the people that got that reference, I salute you. Really, this match was a squash as Martinez picked up the win in just a matter of minutes. After the match, she got her money from Robert Stone and issued a challenge to the new NXT Women's Champion, Raquel Gonzalez. There was a backstage segment involving The Way, and the only thing I really got out of this was that Indy Hartwell wants to make sweet, tender love to Dexter Lumis. I mean, he's got a nice mustache, I'll give him that. Back in the ring, we had a promo from NXT Cruiserweight Champion Santos Escobar where he talked about stealing the show at NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver. He did not. That being said, Kushida answered his open challenge and beat him for the NXT Cruiserweight Championship. Look at that. How did that get there? This was a very fun match, my favorite match of the whole show, as Kushida and Santos Escobar traded holds had a really cool spot, as Santos Escobar set him up with a Boston Crab on top of the steel steps with his neck going right up against the ring post. Awesome stuff, never seen this before. But as the two traded roll-up attempts, Kushida was able to cinch in his cradle and pick up the win, his first championship win since joining WWE over 2 years ago. Dusty. I need to watch this movie again. We then got Raquel Gonzalez's championship address, and this one was much more eventful than Karrion Kross's. Raquel had a lot to say about not being ready to make her debut on NXT's debut on USA, but Dakota Kai believed in her and allowed her to debut in Portland and allowed them to become the first NXT Women's Tag Team Championships. It was very emotional, very heartfelt. We then got the debut of the former Taya Valkyrie, now known as Frankie Monet, as she interrupted Raquel's promo to say that she had joined the best division in the world, and that division had gotten that much better with her there. Raquel said she was in a good mood, but if she ever interrupted her again, she would stick that little poochie up her, ass. She said ass. But that was not the end of the segment either, as both Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair came out to celebrate together with Raquel Gonzalez in a kind of like graduating class type moment. We got the news that NXT signee and Japanese superstar Sarray will be making her debut next week. We then got a very interesting segment as Roddy Strong handed in his resignation to William Regal. Many people have been wondering what the direction will be for Roderick Strong after the breakup of Undisputed Era, and I guess now we know. He's resigning. Does this mean that he'll be main roster bound, maybe go to NXT UK? We then got the climactic match between Leon Ruff and Isaiah Swerve Scott, and man, this was another really sloppy affair. These guys are both so good, but this match was just a step off throughout. Isaiah Swerve Scott landed on his shoulder awkwardly early in the match, and then later, they both took a bad fall off the top rope. Ultimately, Swerve did get the win, but unfortunately, the botches and miscues in this match did take down the enjoyment level for me quite a bit. But that's okay, because they'll be wrestling again anyway, as Leon Ruff attacked him backstage. So much for this feud being over, I guess. And then we got the main event, where Bronson Reed, Dexter Lumis, Shotzi Blackheart, and Ember Moon defeated The Way. This match was really split into two different halves. There was the really good, really fun half, where all 8 people were getting involved with each other, hitting big moves to the outside. The women were trying to take down the men, but the men were Bronson Reed and Dexter Lumis, and they're big and they're beefy, and that was so much fun. And then you had the dumb half, where Indy Hartwell was trying to get Dexter Lumis to like save her, be her like Prince Charming, and kiss her while she was passed out, which was kinda odd, but it ended up with Indy Hartwell throwing Austin Theory out of the ring for breaking up her makeout attempt, I suppose, before lying prone on the canvas and allowing Dexter Lumis to walk out with her in tow. What was this? With both sides down a participant, this match once again picked up, with Bronson Reed hitting a big tsunami splash on Austin Theory for the win, ending a very solid, very fun episode of NXT. I'll give it a very solid 3 out of 5. And that just about wraps it up for me. If you want to check out the new NXT review podcast featuring myself and Chopper Pete, you can do so later today on WrestleTalk podcast. We'll be breaking down the entire show blow by blow, so make sure you check it out. Don't you dare miss it. Jam that jam.
After all of you ingrates raised over £20,000 for the mental health charity Calm over WrestleMania weekend, I now have to shave off the rest of my hair and my eyebrows on today's Quizzlemania. But I'm no coward. I will be your shaving, competing, and then reigning Quizzlemania champion as I go for Sean Ross Sapp's title. That's right, get ready for the biggest shock of the year. If only I could then display that emotion without any eyebrows. Click the video on the right to watch Quizzlemania now, and Alexa Bliss's heel turn and The Fiend's terrible Mania finish reason has been revealed. Click the video below that to find out what the hell is going on. I've been Mr. Davis's eyebrows, signing off for one last time. Jam that jam.